Welcome, everybody, to a Friday night edition of the Anaheim Calling Podcast. Felix, what did you think of tonight's game? What? Wait, that's not Felix? Oh, yeah, he decided not to show up just like his Canadiens tonight. Instead, I'm joined by CJ Woodling. How's it going, CJ?
I showed up just like the Ducks. So you know what? I think we all really know who the winner is tonight. Ducks all the way around.
I mean, except Team Tank people.
Except Team Tank people.
Team Tank can
True.
take one night off. I'm very much pro Team Tank can never take a night off, but tonight's game was fun. I don't know. Once it hit a point where I knew they were winning and there was no way around it, I just enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was really tough to be upset about this. Like, even if you're like us and we're like, okay, you want the tanking to happen, you're all about the tankathon. This kind of a game is just one of those games that, like, you just can't get mad at. It was a brilliant game, especially when it comes to the kids. It showed glimpses of the future. Man, it was fantastic. I had fun.
It was a good time. I mean, my daily fantasy lineups weren't too happy with it, seeing as it went hard on Montreal, which really didn't reward me too much. Really kind of wish I had done the right pivot to some Ducks lineups there, but I guess what can you do? What can you do? But we had a little bit of news before this game started. You had the announcement this morning that both Sam Steele and Kevin Waugh had been sent down to the goals, confirming that they were on emergency recalls, further adding some confusion to what I was confused about last game, that the fact that Sprong was scratched leads me to believe that somehow, some way, he was sick or something. There's no other explanation for how he was scratched, pretty much. There were plenty of people. I got a really fun tweet or a really fun picture. Actually, I'm going to try to find a way to show it because Dan Elder did some great work putting my face on the Charlie Day in the mailroom trying to figure out the conspiracy theory. So eventually I may actually just tweet that out. But so before the game, though, started, we got the news that those two were sent down, and then we got the line rushes. And the line rushes were completely different because Devin Shore came back into the game, as did Derek Grant, and then Nick Ritchie came back into the lineup as he was there last game. And the pregame line rushes were Max Jones, Ryan Getzlaf, and Daniel Sprong, Ricard Raquel, Adam Henrique, Troy Terry, Nick Ritchie, Devin Shore, Jacob Silverberg, Derek Grant, Carter Rowney, and Corey Perry. As it turns out, actually, Raquel and Ritchie were swapped, so Ritchie actually played with Henrique and Terry. Raquel was Short and Silverberg. But you had some thoughts on this lineup, didn't you?
I did. I had mentioned earlier that this was probably my favorite lineup of the season, mostly because the top six looked like, oh man, this has a lot of potential. Getzlaf has two potential finishers on his wings there. That second line has been hot. It's going to be great. And then that bottom six was just like on paper, a total shit show. Like that bottom six is what happens when a general manager gets really high and decides to put together an NHL lineup. And I looked at it, was like, you know what? This might work because hockey is just filled with luck and it's a dumb game, but we love it because it's dumb and it worked. So boom, I'm happy.
There was a little bit of chatter tonight about Corey Perry long term, where he's going to be. He's taking up a first line role, different things like that. And I think not necessarily he doesn't necessarily have to be in a first line role moving forward to be successful. I think that you can have him in a spot like tonight and get 15 to 20 goals from him for the next 3 years. I could easily see Corey Perry being back to scoring 20 plus goals next season based upon the way he's played this season, based upon shot rates, based upon different things like that. But this is what you do with roster construction. You provide some depth all throughout the lineup, and yes, it can sometimes hurt that top-end talent and those lines, but if you can get the top-end talent with some guys that can complement them well, I mean, look at what Sidney Crosby has been able to do with his line mates throughout the year. Granted, Sidney Crosby is a generational talent. I'm not saying the Ducks have an exact replica of that, but that allows Malkin to be on a different line and spreads out the talent. And you look at it's basically an argument for not loading up on one line, and we're seeing that more and more as being the pathway to success. And you look at the minutes for the forwards tonight, it's kind of split up pretty evenly. Granted, there were a lot of penalties tonight, so 5-on-5 minutes aren't exactly the best thing to go by. But if you're looking at 5-on-5 minutes, the Henrique line got around 12 minutes. Ryan Getzlaf got around 11 minutes. The Shoreline got around 10 minutes, and the Grant line got around 10 minutes. So everyone's kind of right in that same range. And basically, you're rolling 4 lines, and you don't have necessarily your first line, your second line, your third line, your fourth line in terms of the preconceived notion of what those lines are supposed to be. You have 4 good lines that you can just put out over the boards and have a consistent wave of attack.
Yeah, I think that is a huge endorsement for what proper lineup construction can do. And here's the thing as well, is that you can't just go into this game and you can't say, hey, these are the lines for the future. These are the lines for what's going to happen next season to make a playoff run. You need sample size and you need to see a lot more of it. But this was a perfect example of what happens when players are just clicking, they're feeding off of each other, when lineup construction actually matters, right? Because it really can have an effect. And for when you do have a good lineup construction combined with good roster construction, then the ideas of first, second, third, and fourth lines become blurred. They don't necessarily become like, they're not going to go away completely, but you can start mixing up and you can start blurring and spreading out that scoring. And tonight was a perfect example of that.
Yep. So now that that's kind of all been set up, the Ducks were playing the Canadiens. For those of you that don't know tonight, that is why Felix is not on this pod. I don't know if he had a little bit too much fun at Honda Center or a little bit too much commiserating at Honda Center. I don't know which way we want to put it, but he's not available for this podcast. He's on the IR right now. Well,
I don't blame him.
You all can save all the shtick for the next time that he's on the show, because it will probably be even better, because then it's not instantly after. It's the long burn. It's the long game, the long con.
Yep.
So let's jump into this recap. This recap's mainly going to be just the goals, because there are a lot of them. So the very first goal in this game came in the first period of this game. You have Daniel Sprong getting the puck in the neutral zone. Sprong came back into the lineup tonight and got into the neutral zone, ended up getting a really nice, clean zone entry, and basically kind of gets right to the outside of the Montreal defender and just puts in a perfect shot from the right-hand side, beating Carey Price, blocker side. Just a perfect shot, and I think this goal perfectly encapsulates what Daniel Sprong can do. Yes, he can have his issues in the defensive zone. Let's go with that. But he has a ridiculously good shot, and he can get that shot off from very interesting locations that can fool goalies. And that's a talent in this league that, if utilized correctly and if utilized by the coaching staff correctly, can be very, very valuable. And this is Sprong's 10th goal of the season. I don't know if you have anything else you want to add to that.
No, I think it illustrates why Sprong might have arguably the best wrister on this team. I mean, I would say he's definitely up there with Silfverberg. When Raquel really wants to, he can certainly have a great wrister. Same thing with Kasha. So this team needs more shooters. That's the thing, is that this team has been filled with so many playmakers over the years, and playmakers are great, but playmakers really, their value gets hampered when you don't have true shooters. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of people were upset when Bobby Ryan ended up getting traded, because Bobby Ryan was one of those pure shooters, and they've had some issues finding at least enough pure shooters to really get the offense up over the years. So having Daniel Sprong, as long as he can at least be somewhat competent in the defensive zone, and to me, honestly, it looks like Sprong has made efforts to do that. He's still not the best, but it looks like he's made efforts to do that. But if he can shore that up a little bit, then his shooting prowess is really going to help the Ducks long term. Yeah,
definitely. So, and also, I mean, he's still young. He's 21. It's just, I've mentioned this a couple different times on the show, but it's interesting how I think because he was traded for, and kind of, it's almost as if people assume that he's older than 21. But
he's the same age as Troy Terry and Max Jones.
Yeah, exactly. And it's weird because you don't think of that. By the way, do you buy into the angle that he plays just better against his home? Like, there's certain teams that he plays better against, because the broadcast crew made mention that he was raised in Montreal, and so it seemed like he had some extra jump in his step. But I mean, you also look at how he played against Pittsburgh. He scored against Pittsburgh when they were at Honda Center and really kind of came out hard in that game. I'm wondering if there's something there. I don't know. I'm definitely, I think, reading into it way too much, though.
I think it's too early to say that. It's one of those things like correlation doesn't equal causation type situations
that's
right
fair.
now. We'll need to see more. Now, if it's like 5 years from now and he's like crap against every other team but Montreal and Pittsburgh, then yeah, we can maybe make that statement. But now we'll see.
Yeah. Okay. So let's move on forward in this first period. Basically, you have Troy Terry, my boy, jumping in onto the forecheck. He ends up getting to a loose puck that Nick Ritchie kind of chopped along the boards. He gets to it, ends up finding Henrique with a really nice pass right around the faceoff dots, and somehow Henrique ends up going through about three or four different players, different Montreal Canadiens, and ends up drawing a penalty, but gets through that and ends up putting the puck right around Carey Price to score the goal, put the Ducks up 2-0, and what do you know? It's hashtag Terry Christmas, everyone. Dishing out those assists, giving out presents. I am spacing it. I think it was Zenez first said that in our Discord chat, but apologies if I'm saying the incorrect person that gave me that, but I enjoyed hashtag Terry Christmas a lot. As we move on this first period, the Canadiens have the puck in the zone. Shea Weber winds up to take a shot. It ends up getting deflected right to Andrew Shaw, who ends up putting it onto net. And there's a pretty good deflection that's left, or not deflection, pretty good rebound left out there by John Gibson. Paul Byron finds it, ends up putting it in the back of the net. This made it 2-1 for the Ducks. Late on in the period, the Ducks get a power play, and essentially with around, I think it was like 30 seconds left in the period, the Ducks have a face-off. They end up winning it, and as Troy Terry is going into the zone, he ends up getting clipped by a high stick by Jordy Ben. Ends up being a 4-minute double minor because he was bleeding on the play, probably lost a tooth in the process. And the Ducks would have a 5-on-3 power play for basically about a minute to, I think it was a minute and a half to start the period. Start the second period. So as we move on into the second period, it was on not the 5-on-3 where the Ducks had some decent zone pressure, but they were not able to finish. It was a little bit kind of stagnant, the power play. I thought they were kind of standing still, working for specific angles, working for specific shots instead of trying to move around and cause a bit of confusion on a 5-on-3. But not a whole lot happened. Montreal kills off the 5-on-3. Then on the preceding 5-on-4 power play, the Ducks end up finding the back of the net. Troy Terry has a really nice play up the blue line to keep the puck in the zone. Ends up getting to a loose puck, chipping it around one player and deking around another. Ends up finding Nick Ritchie, who ends up giving the puck to Corey Perry, who drives the front of net from below the goal line. A very vintage Corey Perry-esque move. And the puck is dislodged from Carey Price, and Devon Shore is able to find the puck and put it in the back of the net. I thought this was a really nice play. I don't know if you had anything you wanted to add to it, but I mean, the keep by Terry, the drive by Perry, it was just so nice.
I loved how that rhymed. Isn't that perfect? Hopefully we get to say
Terry
that a lot
Perry,
more.
Terry
Terry. No, it was really great. It was another one of those goals that's just through sheer force of will and just overwhelmingly attacking. It's, earlier in this season, we just saw the Ducks sitting back, not a whole lot of life or anything like that. Now this is one of those perfect goals where they just did not give up on that puck when they very easily could have, and Montreal could have cleared the zone. So great on Shore to be able to bang that goal home. Yep.
And actually, this goal was reviewed. The Canadiens challenged it for goaltender interference. There wasn't a whole lot there. It felt like it was one of those things that Claude Julien figured, why not challenge it? Maybe he might win it. It's kind of wasn't a whole lot there, but I mean, there's no penalty really for challenging except you lose your timeout. But it was an important goal, and if somehow they may have seen something and taken the goal away, that would have been big for Montreal. So it stood 3-1 Ducks. Then at 10:51 in the second period, Montreal was on a power play. Brendan Gallagher is off forecheck, able to find a puck, ends up going to Deneau, who ends up chipping it up to the point. Shea Weber wires a slap shot. I mean, not a whole lot Gibson can do on this play. Shea Weber has a lethal slap shot. So that ends up finding the back of the net. And then the Ducks responded less than right around a minute later. Cam Fowler has the puck right around the faceoff dots, fires it on net. Troy Terry ends up getting a tip and ends up scoring. And at this moment, this is the moment I can believe it. The hashtag Terry is very good movement began. It began, people. I'm starting it. CJ's giving me like a very disapproving look. He doesn't like it. I'm forcing it down his throat. I'm going to force it down everyone's throat. You're all going to hate it, and then eventually you're going to love it.
I keep telling him, I'm like, look, I get exactly what you're going for. It's kind of reaching, though. I like Terry Christmas better because I'm a sucker for puns.
Terry Christmas is still a thing. Don't worry. That's whenever he gives an apple. Goals don't count for Terry Christmas.
No, that's good. I just think we could be more creative. We're better than this,
We're still
Jake.
working. We're still working. I like Terry is very good. CJ, I'm so used to saying Felix. CJ is giving me a disapproving look. But
I'll help you come up with something.
Also, this was an important goal. In the game, yes, but I think this made the game 4-2. Ducks responded, got it back a 2-goal lead. But the reason why this was a big goal is that this is Fowler's, with Fowler getting a point on this play with an assist, he became the franchise leader in points from a defenseman. And that's crazy to me. I can remember I was at the draft where he was drafted. He's a year younger than me. And it hit me when they were interviewing after the game and he said he's in the middle of his 9th season. And I was just like, when did that happen? How did 9 seasons of Cam Fowler happen? Where did time go? Oh, made me feel
I remember
old.
his rookie season. That was the first year that I started watching hockey.
I remember that season very well also. I was in college. I think I was a junior in college. No, I would have been a sophomore in college. Yeah, because I was that draft was after my freshman year of college. So moving on though, that's
something really quick though, like on that.
Yeah, go for it.
And you may or may not like me for this, Jake, but to me, like, this is fantastic, and I don't really want to take away anything from Cam Fowler. Like, this is a phenomenal night for him.
Let me enjoy it.
No, this is a phenomenal night for him. I'm so happy for him. But this to me goes like the fact that this was Cam Fowler's 607th career game in the NHL, obviously all with Anaheim, right? And he just now broke Scott Niedermayer's points record for defensemen among Anaheim Ducks. But Cam Fowler did it in 235 more games.
Oh yeah, Scott Niedermayer was insane with the point totals he put up. That
just goes to show you how insane Niedermayer. Like, yes, Niedermayer may be known to some people more as a devil because he spent more time with them, won a few more cups. But
why are you staring at me?
Niedermayer was unreal for the Ducks.
Why are you staring at me?
Because you gave me like a bunch of crap. You're like, no, Scott Niedermayer should get retired earlier this year. I am holding this in your face, Jake.
Well, he no longer holds the record for the Ducks. Cam Fowler, franchise leader in points by a defenseman. No longer Scott Niedermayer. But in all honesty, congratulations, Cam. I thought you were going to go a completely different route, that he's now going to get traded. It may still happen. I'm going to enjoy this, though, as someone who's always enjoyed Cam Fowler's career, enjoyed what he does. Yes, he has his flaws, but I mean, it's been really fun to see him grow and see him kind of develop and stuff. And to now have him lead the franchise in points from a defenseman is really, really cool for me on a personal level. So I'm going to still rock my Fowler jersey for a long time, although I know who I'm getting on my next jersey. It's gonna be.
Wow! This is the hardest thing I've ever had to guess in my life.
It's gonna be a Troy Terry 19 jersey because we all know he's changing to 19 next year. It's gonna happen.
By the way, I just want to let you know I wore a Cam Fowler beanie to the game tonight.
Damn! Did you? Wow! I mean,
Fowler was my first favorite player ever. When I first got into the Ducks, I started watching, he was my favorite player.
What other milestones are coming up for the Ducks? I mean, you got to find something for every single player that's coming up on a milestone.
Clearly. I'll do a little bit of research, and I'll start just buying a bunch of stuff because I can totally afford to buy a bunch of merch right now.
Definitely. You should do that. So, as we move on in this game, we still have a bunch of more goals to get. That was only the 7th goal on the night that had 11 goals. So Corey Perry ends up scoring a goal later on in the second period. Derek Grant has a really nice zone entry, ends up making a really nice pass to Carter Rowney, who finds Corey Perry, who has a lot of time and space. Perry ends up waiting, and ends up beating Carey Price 5-hole. And it's the moment you've all been waiting for. Hashtag Perry is still good, people. He's been a bit unlucky since coming back. His shot rates are back to where they were before the last year or two. His chance rates are back up. His high danger chances rates are back up. Once he gets a little bit luck, pucks are going to go in significantly for him. So, hashtag Perry is still good. Spread the word. Spread the movement. It's a good movement. Keep it going, people. 9th goal of the night comes in the 3rd period. This came on a 3-on-2 rush, I believe it was, with the Silverberg Shore Raquel line. They end up getting a lot of chances, but they aren't able to finish, but Silverberg gets the puck in the high slot, and instead of shooting, he kind of looks off Price, makes him think he's going to shoot, and he ends up dishing it off to Raquel, who basically has a wide open net to put the puck into. 10th goal of the night, Troy Terry ends up getting in on the forecheck, is able to intercept a pass pretty much that Carey Price was trying to make, and ends up feeding it to Adam Henrique, who finishes it. And then the 11th goal of the night came with Max Jones entering the zone, and ends up finding a bit of time, and ends up being able to snipe a goal. And this is Max Jones's first NHL goal. So congratulations. The night of milestones with Cam Fowler taking the franchise lead in points by a defenseman. And you had Max Jones scoring his first ever NHL goal. And that celebration was nice. It was nice and all. The hands to the sky, the sigh of relief, that whole look. But I got to say, the better celebration was what happened on the bench. You had Troy Terry.
Not everything's about Troy Terry, Jake.
You had Troy Terry jumping up and down. You had Daniel Sprong. You had all the 21-year-olds celebrating and were so happy. And then you had the hug between Troy Terry and Max Jones after the game. It gave me all the feels, people. All the feels. Because those two are best friends.
Does Monica know that you are getting real close to going over to the Terry side?
I mean, I said, look, hey, he's getting interviewed after the game. She's like, wait, who is that? So that shows you how much she knows.
Ouch.
That shows you how much she knows. So, yeah.
Oh, man. You know what? Don't take away the spotlight from my boy Jones. You are a Troy Terry stan. My brand now is a Max Jones stan. You're not even letting me talk about my boy Max Jones getting his first goal. How rude!
2 straight 3-point games. Troy Terry gets to be talked about.
Yes. All right. So I'm I'm a Troy Terry fan.
People that listen to the show and people that are on Twitter don't understand how much shtick I've gotten over the past year for my Terry love in our Slack chat. So I deserve a night of enjoyment and a night of Terry hype. For 2 straight 3-point nights from Troy Terry. Give it to me. Let me have it.
It's been great. So let me talk about my boy Max Jones. Jones should have had, honestly, and I think we can all agree with this, Jones should have had probably 4 or 5 goals at minimum in the NHL right now. He's been snake bitten, but he's had so many amazing chances. He's got great. Hey, don't you dare. Jake is, for those of you listening to the pod, he's telling me to wrap it up. I don't care. I'm going off the rails. No,
I'll just be scrolling through Twitter, everyone.
How dare you? But Max Jones so deserved this. The skill is there, the hard work, the work ethic is there, and it just really paid off for him now. And somebody had mentioned on Twitter, they're kind of I hope, damn it, he scored. Now I hope the ketchup bottle doesn't open because he's going to ruin the tank. And we'll have to see what happens. But Jones looked really good, especially on that top line with Sprong and Getzlaf all over the place. His edge work is fantastic. He was threatening at a bunch of different points during the night. He tried to get, I think, a little too fancy at times when a couple of defensemen would close in on him. But other than that, not a whole lot to complain about. I love the fact that Max Jones got that first goal, first of many.
Yeah, definitely. Somehow my count on goals were off because I said 11th goal, and somehow there were definitely only 10 goals tonight. I don't know which number I was off on, but there were 10 goals tonight, not 11 people. I don't know what.
I don't know. Aren't you supposed to be good at math?
I'm very good at math, but I'm very confused because I'm looking at my numbers. Oh, I double counted the first Montreal goal. That's what happened.
I'm going into your work and I'm telling them you can't build bridges anymore. They're unsafe now.
God, I hate that bit. So much. I hate George.
Oh, the honey badger mentioned that the Jones goal counted as 2, so we're back to 11.
Okay. All right. So really quick, this came in a Twitter DM, and I think it's relevant right now before we start jumping into the questions. But basically, Owen Lally 17 said some absolutely beautiful goals tonight. Maybe you guys could say which was your favorite goal on the podcast. So many of them were actually gorgeous, high skill goals.
I'm gonna let you take this one first.
Oh, it's the Troy Terry goal because #Terry is very good.
Of course.
See, I've now, after struggling with saying it the first time, it's now rolling off the tongue.
The Terry goal was great. Beautiful, awesome tip that he had. This is going to come as a shock to all of you, but the Max Jones goal, definitely my favorite.
What a homer.
The fact that
What a homer.
Oh my God. I probably think the Ducks have a shot to win the cup this year. No, the Jones goal.
I just meant because I chose the Terry goal and then you went and picked the Jones goal.
Nope. Let me live my life, Jake. Let me live my life. The Jones goal, I loved. It was a nice goal on Carey Price. Carey Price definitely wasn't good tonight, and I think he would want that one back as well. But really what made that Jones goal objectively nice was the lead up before that. Jones basically skated about 150 feet, recovering the puck in the defensive zone, getting it back, shaking off a defender to get in. Make a cut back over to his left-hand side to get a view around the defender and just fired the goal off balance, all while pretty much in full stride. Like that right there, that goal right there, even if Carey Price maybe could have played a little bit better, just showed you how much skill Max Jones has and specifically how much skill he has when skating at a high speed. One of the things that makes Connor McDavid so damn dangerous is the fact that he can stick handle and have all these dekes and moves at full speed. Obviously, Jones is not Connor McDavid, but there's definitely something to be said for a guy who can still pull off some of these great moves and have some of this great skill while pushing the defense back and putting them on the heels. And that's why I love that goal so much.
By the way, Drew Erickson on Twitter just tagged me in a tweet, which was a reply to the Ducks tweeting out, said that milestone night for Troy Terry. He became the first American rookie in club history to record back-to-back three-point games and the first NHL rookie to do so since Matt Barzal did it January of last year.
Damn.
Just enjoy
That's
it.
awesome.
Just enjoy it, people. Just enjoy it. So I now have up, and this is actually some analysis that we should probably get into a little bit before we jump into some questions from people. But overall in the night, what are your thoughts on the overall play? I have up on the screen the scoring chances for the night from moneypuck.com along with expected goals in all situations. And I'm going to swap it. You can see it's 2.82 for the Canadiens, 3.31 for the Ducks. When we change it to 5-on-5, you see that it's 2.36 for the Canadiens, 1.75 for the Ducks. So, overall thoughts on the game for the Ducks tonight?
I think that especially the difference in those numbers right there really shows you that this game was won on special teams, specifically for the Ducks. As soon as they got the man advantage, they were deadly. And the Ducks power play has been one of the best in the NHL really ever since Bob Murray took over, and also specifically when Troy Terry got inserted in the lineup here. Yes, I'm going to talk up Terry here. Terry is an absolute incredible power play quarterback. And you see that from the time that he's always looking to make cross-ice passes. But not only that, it's bled over into other players as well. Something that I've noticed is that Cam Fowler has been looking to make way more cross-ice passes. He's dropping down lower, using that skating ability, pulling defenders out of position, and looking to get the goalie moving left to right. You never saw that when Carlyle was the coach. You never saw that. It was all passes around the perimeter and then Fowler taking point shots when somebody wouldn't come out of position.
There's a lot of things this team is doing now that they didn't do when Carlyle was the head coach of the team. Mm-hmm. They're playing good hockey now, which is a big thing. They're playing. There's a lot of micro things that they're doing that are a lot better, but the overall product that they have is a much better product that is much more suited to the modern day NHL. I mean, let me ask you this: under Randy Carlyle, do you think that they could have played, or they could have scored 8 goals in a game. They were struggling to score 1 goal. Granted, they struggled to score 1 goal under Murray also, but they were generating more chances.
If they did, it would have been out of sheer dumb luck.
Yeah.
Like this was definitely a game where Price was not in his best and the Montreal defenders were not at their best.
No.
But that being said, the Ducks took advantage of the chances, and almost all of their goals were created by good play.
Yeah. Well, I think the other thing is, I mean, in all situations you look at it, they had a 3.31 expected goals in the night, and if you look at what they did all season long under Randy Carlyle, I think their expected goals for was around 2.2, something like that. So from those numbers, it's drastic, the difference between what they're doing now and what they did then. They're adding basically an expected goal per game. They're adding more dangerous chances. So it's exciting to see. It's fun to see. Having said that, hopefully they got all their goals out tonight, because the game on Sunday is a very big game for Jack Hughes-a-thon.
Oh, no. The Sunday game. So for those of you who follow us on Twitter, I think most of you do, but it is official. We are teaming up with Jules from the Crown, which is our sister blog at SB Nation that covers the Kings. Bunch of wonderful people over there. Love them to death. We are officially declaring Sunday's game the Jack Off.
Well,
and
it's the freeway jack. It's the freeway jack off. Get it right.
It's the freeway jack off. But do you want to hear something even better, Jake, that I think you might not know about?
What? Lay it on me.
Sunday's jack off is the Kings' 69th game of the season. You just can't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up.
Oh, 69. Nice.
I can't wait. It's too bad because tonight was game 69 for the Ducks.
Schedule makers. What are you
game.
doing? What are you doing?
It was a very nice game.
Well,
but at least one of us has a game 69.
Hey, hopefully this game 69 translates to their game 69.
Yes, I'm okay with that. Let's do it.
Yeah. So, okay. There you go, people. There's all your niceness for this. So, let's start jumping into some questions. So those of you in the Twitch chat, if you have Amazon Prime, you get Twitch Prime for free. You just have to link your Amazon account to your Twitch account. After 30 days, you do have to hit that subscribe button. Again, it is somewhere over, wrong way again, over there, up there. CJ, point above your head. It's above your head. The button's above your head, other side. So if you hit that button over there, you can subscribe, and it helps out the channel a fair amount. And so by doing that, it supports us. You get a special badge in the badge next to your name and a special emote in the chat. The emote is very, very, very important for the jack off. It is a picture of Jack Hughes. So go ahead, throw that into the chat, everyone. Have fun with it. We are going to have to probably add something else in there at some point. We're working on it. I got something rolling that will be a good one for there. So, having said that, we also, do a YouTube channel, and so this is for those of you that are watching this on YouTube or listening to the recorded version. Come to Twitch, watch us live, twitch.tv/Anaheim Calling SBN. So, here we go. Vandermy253 has a question, said, I do want to say I did see some questions earlier on. If anyone did post one, please go ahead, throw it in the chat again. It's easier for me to find it when it's at the bottom of the chat after the recap. So Vandermy253 said, since the tank is on pause for the time being, how far up the standings could the Ducks finish, and do you still feel okay about their first round pick? I have thoughts on this. Do you?
Yeah. That's tough. I mean, it's a lottery, so it's, it's going to be luck of the draw, but they obviously have different odds weighted towards getting the first overall pick. For me personally, I would say I wouldn't really be comfortable with the Ducks dropping any more than 6th, honestly. 6th or 7th.
Yeah. My thing is the tank's not on pause. Come on, people. They're still, let me see. They're still 4-6 in their last 10. They're not Ottawa level bad or LA level bad in their last 10. They're still not very good in their last 10 overall. They're playing better. Results-wise aren't there. I believe in the tank still. I believe in their ability. But yeah, I'd like to stay in the bottom 5. to be honest. That's where I'd like to sit because then your worst case going to end up with an 8th pick. So yeah. So let's move on. Ooh, there was a question from Twitter from Kestrel Scott basically asking if Troy Terry will be Calder eligible next year. So the issue is you need to have played in, I believe it's either 25 games or 6 games in each of the last 2 seasons in order to lose your rookie eligibility. So Troy Terry did not play in 6 games last year, so that does not apply to him. But he has played 21 games per Hockey Reference. I believe it's at 22, including tonight. He's most likely going to pass the 25 game mark unless somehow, and knock on wood, unless he gets hurt. I guess knock on wood would be the opposite. So hopefully he doesn't get hurt. But that would be the only way that he would not pass the 25 games mark. As we've gone over a couple times here, it's most likely that he will not get sent down. And so he's probably going to pass.
Well, I don't even think it's a most likely thing at this point, right? Because if they send him down, they they can't call anybody back up.
What was it? I believe they have one extra forward right now.
Oh, do they?
I believe. Let me confirm that because I'm trying to run through my head right now. But I remember because they had Getzlaf hurt when they called all of them up.
Yeah.
So there should be... Kessler. So
that's right.
If Kessler comes... Because that's also something we completely missed about. Kessler was ruled out for tonight's game with a hip injury. So...
Yeah. All right. No, you're right. So they could send Terry down.
Yes. But then they could not call anyone up unless someone was hurt. But I don't really think they're going to care that much about rookie eligibility or Calder Trophy. No. Honestly, the Ducks are probably going to be happier that he's not eligible because there's bonuses associated with winning the Calder.
Yeah, exactly.
So for a franchise that sometimes can pinch pennies, they're probably happier if they can burn off the rookie stuff and rookie bonuses and different things like that assigned with it. So there is a question from Spencer Woods 137 said, I was a big Larson fan, but how much longer are they going to suffer his mediocrity? I actually think Jacob Larson had a really good game, and I think he was really good last game also. I believe that he's a guy that, with Cam Fowler, and this is something that they made mention on the broadcast finally, is that Cam Fowler's been playing his offside for the first time in his career, and he was working well with Gooley playing on his offside, and now it's working with Larson also. And Frag What Frag put something into our Discord chat basically saying that when Larson's come up, he's kind of stabilized and made the player that he's with play better pretty much. And he's been a good influence on all those different people. So I actually don't think Larson is that mediocre, and I think that he's going to turn out to be a pretty solid defenseman for this team. And I think even though it's a shame that Gooley got hurt because he was playing well, I think it could be a blessing in disguise because Larson's now getting run out with the team down the stretch here and is showing that I think he's primed to make a solid, be on the roster next year and have a good influence on the team.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I've been a big Jacob Larson supporter for a little while now, and he's the type of guy, again, very similar to Hampus Lindholm, and we're starting to see some of that. And it's funny because the fan base really didn't kind of catch on to just how good Hampus Lindholm was until maybe like his second or third season into full-time duty with the Ducks, after a few big stats guys and national media started looking at him, and they started pulling out some of the numbers, the on-ice shot metrics with him on the ice compared to other teammates, and you saw, oh my God, like he may not show up on the score sheet every night, but he is like borderline elite defensively. I think Larson still definitely has a little bit of development there and a little ways to go, but every game that he plays up here now at the NHL, he looks more and more comfortable. He's making better decisions. He's making people look better around him. I think he made a couple of mistakes tonight, but overall, he's the type of player that I think you really need to pay attention to and go out of your way to watch in order to really see just how good he's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. You look at a guy like Josh Manson. Josh Manson this season, let me just find it really quickly. Josh Manson's Corsi for percentage with Jacob Larson. And now, mind you, this was also under Randy Carlyle, a team that could not control shots for the life of them. It was 48.75, and it actually took a jump down to 45% when he was taken away from Jacob Larson. You have scoring chance for, I'm trying to find it really quickly, 49% with Jacob Larson, drops down to 41% without him. High danger chance for 55% with Larson, 45% without, and that's the player that Jacob Larson has had the most minutes with this season. So that's an interesting thing that him and Manson had really good chemistry together, and now we're seeing in the last little bit that him and Fowler have had some decent chemistry together also.
Like I told you, Hampus 2.0, he's making them better.
Yep. All right. Kempafu, noted Jacob Silfverberg lover, says, who is the best player on the Ducks and why is it Jacob Silfverberg?
Oh my goodness. How is this a question like every night? I feel like it is.
Yeah. Ken or Tony, whatever I'm going to call you at this point in time, you better get your snipe game on because I'm expecting some very Jacob Silfverberg level things from you during the podcast classic. High expectations have been set with your Jacob Silfverberg love.
No pressure.
No pressure. Don't expect Troy Terry-like dangles from me, though. They're not coming. I don't got that skill.
Hey, you and I, when we had our little scrimmage the other night at the skills clinic, you and I combined for a nice little play. You had a great pass from behind the net that I ended up finishing.
We did combine. I made a very, very nice pass, and you had an open net to put the puck into.
It wasn't an open net. It was a slot there. I had a great, little redirect on there. Give me some credit, damn it.
Frag said, what have you guys thought of Gibson since he came back? He looks not nearly to the form he was at earlier in the season.
Yeah, I think he's not the superhuman goalie that we've seen anymore, or that we saw at the beginning of the season. I think that it's tough to say. Again, we've had such a small sample size since he came back. I wouldn't be worried about him whatsoever. Again, at this point, I'm not even really paying attention a whole lot to Gibson for the rest of the season, and I'm not entirely sure if he's really, going 100% steal games anymore.
Let him rest.
Yeah, I think they should let him rest. I would love to see Ryan Miller start Sunday's game. Again, there's just no reason Gibson should be getting a ton of workload anymore. So, but you're right. I think that small sample size, he hasn't been quite as good, but I'm not at all worried.
Yeah. D Frenzy puts in the Twitch chat, and I'm going to say I don't actually remember this happening. I don't know if you do, and that's why I'm going to ask you. I love Manson's game, but how does he get away with punching Drouin tonight? I don't know if I saw that at all.
I didn't see that either. Maybe I missed that.
Yeah, so maybe I missed it. Maybe it happened away from the play. Refs didn't see it. Stuff like that happens, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I was down what, like 9 rows off the ice tonight,
yeah.
And the nice thing about being that low to the ice is that you get to see a lot of stuff, little things, skill plays, but also a lot of the dirty stuff that happens away from the play that they don't call. And there was definitely on both sides players, kind of getting away from some stuff that the refs didn't call. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, Pat the Baker says it was retaliation. The only issue with that is retaliations are sometimes called more so than the initial play. But I actually completely, I do not remember that off the top of my head and didn't have a note on that. But J-Nop said, question, what do you guys think of Magna's game? He was rough the first handful of games with us, but it seems like he's got his game together recently. I think he can be a top 6 guy. Depth defenseman, so like a 5-6 defenseman. My only thing with Magna is he's an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's going to be tough. That's going to be a tough call for Bob Murray, and I think really a lot of that's going to have to do with potential other offers that Magna gets. I don't see Magna getting any more, honestly, than a 1-year offer, because how old is he now? He's 24. He's a little bit older now.
Making me do research. Hold
on, I'll do the research. I never said you had to.
I'm doing it right now, don't you worry. Yeah, he's like 24, 25, though.
He's 26 years old.
Okay.
So he's older. Honestly, we've kind of, it's great. I agree. Like he's been good lately. And I think he's been a serviceable bottom pairing defenseman. And but he's really nothing more than that as far as I've seen. He's been good in the AHL. He's captain down in San Diego for a reason.
Here's an interesting question. He's gonna probably go on waivers at the end of the year to go down to the goals for their playoff run. He was put on. He was one of the
That's
paper.
Right.
He was one of the paper transactions. And so I'm wondering if maybe someone tries to claim him. I don't know. He'll be interesting. But he's UFA, so why would someone claim him? Yeah, I'm talking myself out of that idea. So scratch that. Let's end with this question because this is a really good one from STFU Shane. I think it kind of is a nice little end for the show tonight. Who has been benefiting the most from Carlyle being gone and Bob Murray behind the bench? Essentially, I think my opinion on Bob Murray being behind the bench, I think it's just him letting guys play, loosening up a lot of the reins, pretty much. So, who do you think's been benefiting the most?
Oh, that is a good question. That is an extremely good question. I think I'm going to go ahead and say it's Cam Fowler.
I agree. Probably Lindholm and Manson also. All the defensemen.
All the defensemen, I think, have shown to be much better without Carlyle now because, Carlyle's defensive systems were just such a train wreck and they couldn't put it together. All the defensemen in general. But, to me, what I'm seeing is that Cam Fowler is using his talents. He is a very flawed defenseman, and I think we all agree with that. But the thing that he has better than anybody else on the team is his skating. He is just one of the smoothest, most technical skaters you will see out on the ice, and he's using that now, and he's looking to make plays using that skating. We go back to when I was talking about the power play and how Cam Fowler is now dropping down more. Instead of just hanging out around the point, he's dropping down to the circles now. He's shifting left to right. He's looking to make cross-ice passes. I don't think that based off of the way the power play was structured when Carlyle was coach, that he had the okay to do that. He was basically told by Carlyle, stay up at the top, receive the passes, and dish it out to other players. And if nobody gets pulled out, then you put the shot on. Now he's using his ability. I think I wouldn't be surprised if they basically said, hey, do what you got to do to score, use your talents. And that's what we're starting to see now.
Yep, I agree. Not really. I don't want to address the question because I like ending with that question. But by the way, per Frag What Frag, Max Comtois is destroying the QMJHL right now. He's leaving no prisoners there. So get excited. Get excited for Max Comtois.
What's his score sheet now since the World Juniors?
Making me do more research again.
Is he still suspended right now?
That I do not know, but I'm looking up where he's at just overall per Hockey DB, or actually, why does this hate me?
Comtois was suspended for a little bit, and he might be back now. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, but he has been absolutely tearing up the QMJHL, and just as
I've got it right here, by the way.
Go for it.
So with Drummondville of the QMJHL, and really you have to remember he made his season debut after the World Juniors because he was injured for a little bit, went through the World Juniors, took a little more time to recover, and then came back. In 21 games, Max Comtois has 40 points, 25 goals, and 15 assists. That's insane. He's on almost a 2-point per game pace. He's dominating. He's a men of boys out there. He's definitely going to be contending for a regular, and I would argue maybe, top 9 roster spot next season, full time.
Yep, agreed. So let's end with what I've been doing all the time of late, which is a tankathon. Let's see how long it takes me this time to get the Ducks, because they're sitting 5th from the bottom again. Second, so we got Kako right now. Wait,
I'm cool with it.
Colorado won that one. Okay, here we go. I gotta get it.
I'm cool with it.
Nope. Gotta keep going. We gotta push through this thing, people. We gotta get to first. There's a second. I gotta. All right, I'm giving myself 5 more. So here we go. 5, 4, 3. Okay, we ended. Oh God, Edmonton gets Kako now. Why?
No, they're gonna ruin him. No.
Why?
Everything is awful.
Why? All right, so now that that's there, let me go to this real quick. We have a t-shirt, actually, that we are selling right now. If you go to teespring.com/acpod logo, it's all one word, you can actually purchase our shirt. So if you go there, you can purchase it. We have it available in unisex t-shirt, women's t-shirt, sweatshirt, and women's tank top. It has the podcast logo, and the link is also in the Twitch chat right now. It's in the YouTube bio, and it is in the podcast description, and there's also a Twitch panel for it now. And we're also going to be making more shirts as time goes on. If you have any requests for styles of shirts and things like that, let us know. If you have any ideas for shirts, let us know. Anything along those lines. And also, if you want to support us, find us at patreon.com/acpod. With Patreon, you can support us and get bonus content. 2 bonus episodes a month for $5 a month. There's some really good content that you get all the access to. You also get access to a Discord channel exclusive for patrons. It's a really good chat in there. I'm in there. All of their AC staff also have access to it. And on top of that, we will be having a watch party for the March 23rd Ducks Kings game. If you want details, you do have to be a patron to attend, so the link or the information for it is on the Patreon website. If you are listening to this and are a patron and have not done this yet, please leave a comment on the article with the information to let us know if you are coming and if you will have a +1 with you. This way we can kind of have some sort of head count and I can have some sort of idea. Is there anything else that we need to promote? Anything you have?
No. We're good tonight.
You can find the podcast also if you're listening to the podcast on SoundCloud or Apple Podcasts. If you want to leave us a review, this is probably the last thing you can do that can help us out and get us a little bit more notoriety. We do not have any new reviews, but we had a really good one last time, and so go ahead and do that. It helps out a lot. So I think having said that, I think that's probably going to do it for the night. Let's end the night. I want to end it with the Tankathon screen, because it's a beautiful, beautiful screen, CJ. So,
yeah.
Having said that, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. This was a really fun one. The Ducks had a really good game. Now, hopefully, the tank can roll back on. Have a good one, everyone. Bye.